If you're waiting to feel confident before doing something you've never done before, you're going to be waiting until I can speak Mandarin while playing the Mongolian flute and dancing like a 15th century jester. Jeez, need to fix that floor. In other words, you're going to be waiting forever. Why? Well, unfortunately, it's because it's just not how confidence works. To elaborate, take a moment to consider something you currently feel unconfident towards. Could be anything. It could be dancing bachata, taking a job above your current level of experience, speaking on a stage, practicing that language you've been learning in front of natives, or simply sparking up a conversation with an attractive stranger and asking for their number. No matter what it is, now take a moment to consider, why do you feel unconfident towards doing this thing? Any ideas? Let me hazard a guess. You don't feel confident in doing this thing yet because you don't have any evidence of having done it before. Simple. Confidence is based on evidence. It's not based on telling yourself vague mantras in the mirror whilst holding your fingers crossed and hoping for the best. This also means if you don't have any evidence of having done something yet, you're not going to feel confident until you do that thing. So the two mantras of confidence become: action before confidence and embarrassment is the cost of entry. But I must admit, up until this point, I haven't been completely honest with you because there is a secret way to fuel your confidence, regardless of whether you have evidence in your ability to do something or not. Let me quickly demonstrate it with an example. Why are you whispering? I've heard it helps with the sexual tension of the video. Three days ago, I went to my first salsa class in London, and it was one of the best nights of my life. I still haven't recovered. I fell in love like 7 times. Anyway, that's a bit of a problem in itself. But beforehand, I didn't have confidence in my ability to dance salsa because I had no evidence. I'd never danced salsa before. But I did have confidence in my ability to face difficult challenges, embrace nerve-wracking situations, and to learn new skills. Because I've started a YouTube channel, I went traveling alone at 18, I've learned new skills like jiu-jitsu and boxing. So my lack of confidence in my ability to logistically dance salsa was balanced by my confidence in my ability to embrace hard things and learn. So as I was walking along the busy streets of London and I saw the venue and saw everyone walking inside, and I started to feel a bit anxious of the fact that I could mess up and make a fool of myself, I simply said, I've faced much harder things than this, and any fear I had of looking silly instantly disappeared. Facing harder things meaning I've been choked out on a mat by a fully grown man in jiu-jitsu. So I really want you to keep these 3 things in mind the next time you hold yourself back from doing something you really want to because you convince yourself, oh wait, I don't feel confident to do this thing yet, let me wait until the confidence comes and then I'll do it. 3 things. If you've never done something before, of course you don't feel confident in your ability to do it yet. But that doesn't mean you can't feel confident in your ability to face hard things. Number 2, in order to be confident, you must first be vulnerable. And number 3, I'm going to do it on another cut because there's something else I want to mention with point number 3. Whether you believe in yourself or not doesn't matter. What matters is you act now to build a case that argues in favour of you feeling confident the next time you do this thing. How do you do so? Well, you ask yourself a question. You have a task you want to do, but you feel unconfident towards. Maybe it's freaking you out a little bit and you don't know how to break it down into manageable chunks. Ask, where does my courage begin? Work with yourself to break down this panic-inducing task into something that you can do right now that is in your stretch zone. Panic freaks you out. Oh my God, I can't stand the thought of doing that. That is making me incredibly nervous. Where does your courage begin then? Break it down so it's a task that is slightly outside of your comfort zone, but not too far out, that is going to make you freak out. Stretch yourself. Guys, I do apologise. I just watched the video back from yesterday and realised Lewis from yesterday failed to give examples of stretch and panic zones. Let's take 3 quick examples to run the point home. Let's imagine you've been practising French over the last 6 months, but now you're finally in the streets of Paris and you think, okay, I want to practice with some locals. But you see a restaurant in front of you filled to the brim with Parisians, and the thought of going in there and practising French over the counter with the waiter terrifies you. That's a number 10, that's in your panic zone. Ask, where does your courage begin? You scan your environment again and you see a little cafe, completely empty, with a lovely old French woman in there who you can go in and knock her bandy with your French. That's in your stretch zone. Number 2, let's imagine that in your local shop there's a beautiful stranger in there who you want to go in and distribute some rizz to. Sorry, forgive me, I had to say that. But the thought of doing that and asking for her number straight away and giving her a compliment is terrifying. Number 10, that's in your panic zone. Okay, where does your courage begin? Can you go into the shop and simply ask, hi, how are you, while she's serving you your food? Finally, number 3. Let's imagine you've got 2 left feet, like most people from my country, England, but you want to go to you want to start learning how to dance. The thought of going to a public dance class with loads of people terrifies you. Number 10, that is in your panic zone. Ask, where does your courage begin? Maybe you could have a one-on-one lesson with an instructor. That's in your stretch zone. And remember, the whole reason why you're doing the stretch zone task is so you can gradually build up your confidence to do the panic-inducing task. But the key word is gradually. That said, every now and then you might want to throw yourself in at the deep end and do a panic-inducing task straight away, but just be careful with it, because most of the time I have every faith in you that you will succeed in it and you'll realise that you didn't die and that you are much more capable than you think. But if you're very self-critical and you throw yourself in at the deep end, you might traumatise yourself even more and want to avoid the panic-inducing task further. Gradual exposure to challenging tasks is going to increase your confidence to face bigger challenges. Where does your courage begin? Back to the video. Finally, you might have heard the saying, get comfortable being uncomfortable. And it's a great saying. But in order to bring everything we've spoken about in this short video together, I'd like to change it a little bit. Get comfortable being uncomfortable. It's great, but a bit vague. Let's change it. You'll only become confident by doing uncomfortable things. But if you continue to do them, they'll no longer be uncomfortable. Funny, isn't it? How most of our problems can be solved by working with the nature of reality instead of against it. Hold on. Was that aimed at me? What? Was that a dig at me? No. So my final questions to you are, what is something you've been postponing due to a lack of confidence? If you now understand you're not going to feel confident in your ability to do this thing until you do it, why not just save yourself some time and do it ASAP? And finally, before you do it, how can you better remind yourself to embrace discomfort rather than expect to feel confident? So, remember, action before confidence, and embarrassment is the cost of entry. Thank you very much for your time and attention. Stay disciplined, playful, and dangerous. Adios, muchachos y muchachas.